Let's continue with the second activity. For the second activity, my children, we have, in this case, not sentences, but objects, okay? Now, in each one of the objects, abajo de cada uno de los objetos, we have words, tenemos palabras. Now, the activity here is that we have to cross, tenemos que poner un tache on the correct word that is related to the object. Tenemos que tachar la palabra correcta de la cual habla el objeto. For example, here in this one, what is it? It's a beer. So, under the object, we have two options. Tenemos dos opciones. The first one, it says lemon, and the second one, it says beer. We have to cross the correct one. So, you said that it was a pear, so it's not lemon. Now, we have to skip this one and trace the final one, which is pear. Tenemos que saltarnos lemon y tachar donde dice pear, which is the correct name of the object. Now, in case that you still have difficulty to identify the words, en dado caso de que sigan teniendo dificultad para identificar las palabras, I'm gonna give you a clue. Les voy a dar una pista. Beer begins with the letter P. Beer empieza con la letter P. So the word that has letter P, that's the one that you have to mark. Beer. Let's continue with the second object. For the second object, please tell me, my children, what is it? ¿Qué es? It's a bird. Remember, a bird, it's an animal that flies. Now, we have two options. The first one, it says bird, and the second one says dolphin. Now, which one is the correct? One or two? Number one, the bird. Let's continue with the third object. For the third object, we have a spider, okay? Now, number one, it says snake. Number two, spider. So which one? Number one or number two? Number two. Number two says spider. So we mark it with an X. Let's continue with the fourth object. We have, what is it? An elephant. So, number one, it says dog. Number two, it says elephant. So, number one or number two? Number two, because it's an elephant. An elephant begins with the letter E. Let's continue with the next object. Now here, we're talking about fruits. What is it? What is this? Remember, it's not melon. Melon, it's another fruit. The complete name, watermelon. So this is a watermelon. Number one, it says melon. Number two, watermelon. Which one is it? Number two. And watermelon begins with the letter W. Let's continue with the next one. Now here we have an animal. What is it? It's a fish. Number one, fish. Number two, cat. Number one, fish begins with the letter F. So let's continue with the next one. Here we have again an animal of the sea. This animal is the biggest animal in the whole world. Todo el mundo es el más grande. Okay? Now, what is it? Okay, ballena, but do you remember the name in English? It's called a whale. Okay, please repeat after me. Whale. Very good. So this is a whale. Number one, it says snake. Number two, whale. So which one is it? Number one or number two? Number two. So we mark it. Let's continue with the next one. Now this is very easy. This, of course, is called an apple. Now the apple. Number one, it says pear. Number two, apple. Which one is correct? Number one or number two? Number two. And don't forget that apple begins with the letter A. Let's continue with the one that is under. Now here we have an animal, a pet. Do you remember pets? Animals that live in our house. Now I'm gonna give you a clue. This animal makes noises like meow, meow. Okay, a cat. Very good. So the first option, it says dog, number 2, cat. Which one is it? 1 or 2? Number 2. And don't forget that cat begins with the letter C. And finally, the last subject. Again, we have a fruit, a very small fruit. Now, this is called a cherry, and we also mentioned it on the previous exercise, number 7, the 7th sentence, a red cherry. Now, here, number 1, it says grapes. Number 2, it says cherry. So which one is it? Number 1 or number 2? Number 2, and cherry begins with the letter C. We mark it with an X, okay? Very good. So, as I did it, if once you have finished with exercise, once you have finished tracing the correct names of the objects, if you want to paint them with your favorite colors, you can do it. There's no problem, okay? Very good. So, that's it for today, my children. These are the 2 activities of today. I hope that you have I hope that you do an excellent job. Don't forget that it's very important that you work hard, that trabajen duro, that you memorize and remember and practice all of the topics, all of the words, todos los temas, palabras, objects, numbers that we see every day, que trabajamos todos los días. It's very important. And I know that at the end you will do an excellent job. Sé que al final harán un trabajo bien padre. So, that's it for today. Take care. Don't forget that I love you very much. Goodbye.